Ooh, look at that right there. Some of y'all are wondering what kind of weapon this is. Some of you probably already know what it is. Some of you are probably trying to find out why I'm acting like Hickok 45. Anyway, hi, I'm Red Company B. Welcome to my, it's like my third video, I think. Anyway, today we'll be talking about the Patten 1853 British Enfield. Alright. Now, it served in several wars. First war actually being the Crimean Wars. And then it was more famously known, used in the Civil War. Okay? Now, these were made in London. They were actually made by the RSAF, the Royal Small Arms Factory, in the London Borough of Enfield, also known as the Lay Valley. This weapon right here weighs about 9.5 pounds and is about 4.5 feet long. Okay. Now, after it was manufactured at the factory, it would be sent off to to Birmingham, to the Tower of London, where it was proofed and would have been given a seal, being proofed that the barrel was tempered good, and that it was that the Queen put her mark on it that this was a good firing weapon. Mine's an Italian made. It's not an original or anything like that. It's not a Parker Hale or anything like that. It's just an Italian reproduction. Things that one of the last Euro arms ever made. Yeah, this is a rifled musket. Now, meaning that this was a rifle that was the same length as the musket that it was replacing. So it's a rifled musket. Musket being a smoothbore weapon. This being a rifle, having that it has rifling down the barrel. Anyway, it's a rifled musket. It is a .577 caliber bullet, which is ever so slightly smaller than 58 caliber. A 58 caliber will fit down this barrel. It's very, very tight, but it will fit. A .577 fits just a little bit better down the barrel. Alright. Now, behind that bullet would have been about 68 grains of true black powder. Not Powder X, not smokeless powder, but powder, true black powder. And it would range from about 100 yards to around 400 to 600 yards. Now, that is with your default or your battle sights. You flip this sight up and it becomes what they call a blade sight. A blade sight had a little blade that would move up and down. Mine's missing anyway. But this sight right here took it from the 600 range up to 900 yards. In the British Army, you were trained to be able to. An infantry soldier had to shoot a 6 foot by 2 foot target with a 2 foot diameter at 600 yards. And then the elite who could shoot, who could perfectly shoot that, we took the weapon and tried to shoot up to 900 yards at a target that was still 6 foot by 2 foot, but a 3 foot diameter bullseye. So that's the range of the weapon. Like I said, these were first used in the Crimean Wars. It was then more famously used during the Civil War, or the war between the states, or the War of Rebellion. It was mainly used by the Confederacy. It were used by both sides of the war, but mainly by the Confederacy. This was the second most used weapon throughout the Civil War. The most used would have been the 1861 Springfield. This was the #1 imported weapon during the Civil War. Second being a Australian made weapon, I think is what it was. About 900,000 of these would be imported into the South and the northern states, whether being from the RSF company or through private contractors who bought the rights to these weapons. There's a very, very famous incident with one of these weapons, where it was rumored to have been shot by a North Carolina soldier. Someone may know more than I do, but that is what I've been told. But they took a shot at a very famous general during the Battle of the Wilderness, or Spotsylvania Courthouse. It's 2 different days, but anyway, where he sat amongst a high hill 900 yards away from the Confederate line and shouted out that the spot he was standing was fine, it was safe, because no Confederate could hit at that distance, and just before he could finish his sentence, a mini ball went straight through his head. So that tells you about the distance on these guns, and how accurate they really were in the hands of a good trained soldier. Yeah, so if you're a reenactor and you're going into trying to start up, this is going to be your best bet to buy, because it's these were known as the AK-47 of the Civil War. I mean, they were very, very durable. They shot well. They were accurate. They didn't break that very often. Now, with these weapons, unfortunately, because they weren't mass produced, they were kind of made almost by hand, basically, depending if it was a private contractor. So if you got a private contractor made weapon, if something broke in your lot plate, you could go pick up an RSF company made one, and it would not fit in your lot plate. So that was the bad thing. The Springfield, they were all made by Springfield, so if anything broke inside, you could swap out the parts. Now, like I said, if you're a good reenactor, you want to get into it. If you're going to buy one, I know they're expensive. They range between $700 up to $900, even more if you go into like the Parker Hills and such. But if you're going to buy one, I would suggest going used first off. I would buy an Army Sport or Your Arms, one of the two. Your Arms did go out of business a few years ago. They are back in business, but they're making their guns a lot more accurate, and they're defarred, meaning they don't have all the modern markings and stuff like that. So they're a little bit more expensive than they originally were. But I would go with those two different companies. If it's an Italian-made Enfield and it has proof marks, it's a good weapon. Now, like I said, they're going to range between $700 up to $900. The bad thing about these are there are Indian-made ones. Now, I've heard people talking about how great their Indian-made Enfield is, or how great their Indian-made Brown Bess is, whatever. I would not buy one. I would not invest my money into one of those. India does have very strict proof laws to where if the steel on the gun is not tempered correctly, it's not going to pass. It's just that's how strict their laws are. But when it comes to a black powder or antique firearm, if it does not have a vent hole here, it's not a weapon. It's not a gun, so they don't have to proof it. So you'll see a lot of these. They're lighter than the Italian reproductions. There'll be a smoothbore Enfield, not a rifled one, and they're going to be about $500 to $600. I would not invest my money in, because they don't have proof marks, so they're not, they've never been proofed, so you don't know if that barrel's going to blow up in your face or not. There's been several incidents where people did have those weapons blow up in their face. There's several instances where people have an Army Sport and Your Arms blown up in their face, but you hear more stories about those Indian-made ones. So that's my take on those. Make sure you get a good quality made Enfield or Springfield, wherever you get. But yeah, these are true black powder weapons, meaning they take black powder. They don't take this Powder X or smokeless powder that you see, or black powder substitute or pellets or whatever. These take real black powder. GoX is a company. Black Diamond is a company. There's another company out there that make reenactors grade black powder, which means they've taken, you don't know if it's going to be a double F or triple F black powder. There's kind of a mixture. That's reenactor grade. But that smokeless stuff and that Powder X stuff burns way too quick and way too hot for these barrels to take. You got to use the slow burning, low temp black powder for these guns. That's one thing you need to remember. To clean it, it's a big strawed out process. boiling hot water down the barrel several times until it runs out clean, and then taking patches and running it down the barrel until it's clean. Those come out clean, and then rubbing it with a little bit of oil and maybe spraying some Bristol or Hops number 9, whatever you got, down the barrel till it comes out clear. And then once or twice a year, you want to take the lot plate off. I'll do a video on how to properly clean these later on, and how to take in a separate video on how to take this lot plate apart properly. But those things need to be done every so often if you own one of these, just because of the way rust happens and all that good stuff. So yeah, stay 1853 British Enfield. If you like the video, subscribe or comment below, let me know. Hey, thumbs up, whatever. Leave a comment if you have anything to say about the videos. You know, how great of a job I did, and how great my facts were and all that good stuff. But no, I'm just kidding. Comment if you found anything in the video that I think I should elaborate more on, or if you found something I was inaccurate about. Whatever your comment is, just leave a comment below. And subscribe. Thanks y'all for watching. Like I said, I'll be doing a lot more videos. I'll go into depth about how to clean this and all that good stuff later on. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm over at Co.b.